So, well, we have a beautiful day here in Mevaseret, our little suburb here of Jerusalem, and it's like perfect spring day. I think on February 21st, and I'm with my longtime friend again, Jeff, and Jeff has been up to so many exciting, truly, and new things that I thought it's worthwhile to do another interview. So, Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me, and it's nice to see you again. Okay.
So, Jeff, I know you're doing a lot of new, exciting things, important things. So, where would you like to begin to tell us all?
Okay. Well, I think I'd like to begin with something that you said to me a number of years ago. I have been doing the method of attunement since the 1970s, mid 1970s, and I was always kind of with this as like my main thing, my main way of presenting myself, of teaching, of doing something. And attunement is a way that it's hard for people to capture. It's hard for people to comprehend it because it's an energetic. It's energetically working with the nervous system, the endocrine system, and it's a gentle approach. And it works very well. But you had said something to me that not to be just stuck in one thing, and this really affected me. And I thought about it, and I wasn't really sure what to do about it. But since then, I took a few classes. In a class that I'm taking now is called Somatic Experience, and it's a 3-year program. I finished 2 years, and I'm already using that with people. And a little bit later, I can tell more about it. But when essentially Somatic Experience is trauma therapy, helping release trauma from the body, large traumas and small traumas. And then I also started to do more physical work with people, doing muscle energy technique and what I call specific massage, which is going in and releasing the problems and allowing the energy to flow better in the body. And I've done for many years like spiritual counseling, and so I have allowed this to grow as well, and guidance of people. So what I've done is I've started to put things together, and so I thank you for this inspiration, because you were very strong on that a number of years ago. And another thing that took place a while ago, maybe 6 months ago or so, I called you on the phone to speak about something, and we were talking about shamanism.
Yes.
And you said something that I'm a shaman, but you didn't say it in a gentle way of like you're a shaman and go on to the next topic. You spoke about a half an hour about it on the phone. You even called me back because you didn't finish, you had to do something, called me back, and you were very intense that I should take on the identity. And so
present yourself as not a practitioner of a method, but to understand that who you really are is a shaman who does his own thing according to what you feel, what the inspiration is. Something like that, as I recall.
Right. And and anyway, you inspired me by this, and so the first thing that I did was I went to the nature and did some work in nature to clean up the nature.
That's great.
Because I felt that as being a shaman, it's taking care of the earth. And I still am not comfortable with this label. But the other day, actually for the past week, about 4 people have brought this up to me. So to me, I work in the mystical world. I help bring the mystical into the reality of our lives, into the physical, into the mental. And I do this with energy in various ways, with words, with sending from my hands, with the presence of my body. And I love to teach people this. So
with the tone of your voice.
the tone of the voice. The tone of the voice is very powerful.
You bet.
And you have a tone also that invites people into the spirit. So the tone of the voice is a very important thing. We could actually do a whole conversation about this one day.
As I said, maybe in one of our previous films, when I get around you, I just relax. So you have this energy. I wonder if our audience could feel it even through the film. Something about you just sort of is calming. So
thank you very much. Yes, and I find, well, I appreciate that. I find something else with you. Not so much a calming effect from you. I find a inspiration. When I get around you, I'm inspired, and I feel that since I've known you, I think 15 years now. Each time I see you. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I would like to say, Cryon, he'll often call his audience shamans, and I think the reason he does it, it's very, very important to get out of the little boxes that the modern world has put us in, and which you've gotten very out of such a box, and you're very, like I say, you are a shaman, and I consider myself one too. A shaman is one who could dance with the universe, dance with the depth and beauty of life, and is not in some little box, thinking that he's just this 21st century identity, going about his job and living his life. So anyway, it's very important, I think, and that's why Cryon calls the people. He'll say it over and over. Sometimes we'll call them shamans. So when you're a shaman, it becomes exciting. You can dance, passionate dance. So what else, Jeff? What else is exciting and new?
Okay, well, I appreciate this conversation about shamanism, and well, there's a lot of new things that are happening. Last year, I organized a mystical tour of Israel with a group from Switzerland, and it was a great tour. The people were really ready for it, and they had their own mystical things to do and stuff, and I was part of it. I organized it, and I was part of the tour. And one woman named Alaidis Blumenfeld, she, her and I just became good friends. We recognized each other's spirit, and we really felt connected. And so during her trip here, she said, "I must bring you to Switzerland." And with a passion, I taught the group how to feel energy, and then energy exercises, and then we did more exercises. Matter of fact, their group was great. I had to keep on coming up for about 3 hours, about 2.5, 3 hours. We were in this hotel room with like 20 people in the room, and they kept wanting more and more exercises, so I kept doing this, putting people in the middle, doing energy, men and women, and we just kept on doing various things. Anyway, Alaidis really, her and I really connected well. She invited me to Switzerland, and I went last spring, and I had a very successful visit. People really liked the work I'm doing. I taught a class. I did many sessions with people, and I stay in a beautiful place there that overlooks the mountains, overlooks Lake Lamour.
Okay.
They call it Lake Geneva.
The Lake of Love, right? Lake Lamour.
And it's a beautiful lake. I mean, it's amazing, and you see the mountains.
Yeah,
so I'm staying there, and the place that I've stayed in, I have hawks, between hawk and eagle, kind of like this all the time. They're out there flying. Every time I go outside, I look, there's 2 or 3 of them flying around. and it's an amazing experience. So I went last year, and then I went again in the fall, and I just went again now in January. And in January I went for a specific reason. I didn't know it. I went for a soul reason. I went to teach people, to help people, but I needed to do something in regard to the snow. And I had an amazing experience of a past life remembrance of almost dying in the snow as a Native American, and with other people that had frozen, and I pulled myself out of it. And
in that lifetime?
In that lifetime, I pulled myself out of it, and then I went on. But I had a trauma stuck in my soul memory. And when I was there, and I knew it was there a little bit, but I didn't know exactly. But one day I was there, the snow was really strong just around me, and it came up, the whole memory came up, the whole experience, and then it just cleared away.
Wow.
And so we go places for different reasons, and we do things. Many people come to this country, like when I do mystical tours here, people come here because they're trying to connect to the mystical part of themselves from another life, and to bring those victories and that sacredness into this present life.
Absolutely.
And
you know, Jeff, this incident with the snow and the past life, and what you said about somatic experience, working to release traumas from the body. I've had some. I've been thinking about what they call post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a lot of Vietnam vets came back with that, and it occurred to me several times in my life. I know I've had some very difficult lifetimes, and it's occurred to me several times that I have had. Right now, I'm feeling pretty good, but it seems to me I've had post-traumatic stress disorder. Though I've never been in a war, but I've had it from wars in other lifetimes and terrible things in the other lifetimes. So when you talk about somatic experience releasing traumas from the body, do you mean also traumas from other lifetimes?
Well, essentially, the somatic experience is working with this lifetime, working with the traumas that are stuck within the nervous system in people, and it works very well. It's quite an amazingly powerful tool, and we've done a little bit of it. I can do a little bit with you more if you'd like, to teach you how to do it to yourself. But excuse me. But you can also do this with soul memories and soul things that are stuck there. But it doesn't come out exactly the same way. It's a little bit different. I mean, the method is a little bit different, or the way of releasing it is a little bit different. Because the soul memory, part of it is stuck in the body, but part of it is stuck in the energy field around the body, or the soul's energy field, you could say. And so we have to be able to enter into that. Now,
what about cellular memory? I mean,
cellular memory to me is more of relates to our ancestry and to our present life. So I do have. You can release traumas from past, like from your parents, from your great grandparents, from ancient people within your family history. So there are vibrations that are there. Then, when I'm talking about a soul vibration, it's something that's slightly different. It's like we carry it. Many people think I had this problem, or I was this great person in the past, but like in past lives, people are a little confused about it. I think really what we mostly do is we bring our victories, our spiritual victories with us. And those spiritual victories help us to become more enlightened in this life, in the next life, you could say, and then you bring it with you. But also comes with it some of the blockages that are there, and soul blockages. And so those things need to be clear. So one of the things that I did, telling you the story about the snow, there was like a blockage that was there, and it was hanging around, and it wasn't like it wasn't intense my whole life, but all of a sudden it came up because it was holding back something in me and not allowing me to be free, to be trusting myself completely. And I didn't quite understand it until I was in that circumstance, and it all came together. And then I released it, and maybe I've told one or two people about it. I tell you now, just as an example.
Okay. So tell me more about what you're into. I know you're into not only somatic experience, but you're exploring and learning other things as well, like with the pericardium. And
right. So when I was in Switzerland, the woman Alaides, she practices a method called releasing the pericardium, or working with the pericardium. Now, pericardium is the sac that surrounds the heart.
Okay.
And I began to find it fascinating because this sac that surrounds the heart, this protects the heart, and this sac has attached to it ligaments, and these ligaments go to other areas. Like a ligament starts here and then goes, say, up to the neck. So, just say if you're afraid, and you go like this. You know, like when people get afraid, or someone yells at you, pull in like this. What happens is,
or even a loud noise.
Even a loud noise, many different things. So what happens is the pericardium gets pulled in, and it pulls on the different ligaments that are there.
Yes.
And then, and that ligament, and so just say that ligament also is connected to the stomach, and all of a sudden something happens. Oh, I got a stomach ache, and it has nothing to do with the stomach. It has to do with the ligament that's pulled on it and created a problem with it. So this method...
Actually, you don't want to eat after you've had a shock. Like even like I've experienced, like after something that really disturbs me, even a very loud noise, unexpected, everything is affected, including the stomach, for sure.
Well, what happens when that happens is the adrenaline moves. When you have adrenaline that moves through,
yes,
and the flight and fight syndrome comes up, and so what happens? One of the things is that the stomach stops digesting, and the body gets ready to deal with the emergency, to deal with the trauma, to deal with whatever's out there.
Yes.
So, like energy is put towards the muscles, not towards the stomach.
Yes.
The eyes open up to want to save your life. I mean, this is the thing.
The muscles are tense, ready to run or fight.
Exactly. And so, what happens many times is we just are not able to, like we'll stop eating, or we lose our appetite, or something takes place.
What about people who are in that state most of the time? These people are going to have big trouble, aren't they?
That's exactly right. What happens is many people, it's very sad to say what I'm about to say, but many people's adrenal glands are stuck on. People are just all the time, they're on. Even if they go to sleep, they're on, and they don't sleep well. So now there's many good ways to turn off the adrenal glands. The best way that I know is the method that I do with attunement, where you go through the whole system, get the nervous system to calm down, the other glands, and when you get to the adrenal glands are ready to release, and just take a break. So many times I tell people there's no emergency. There's no emergency now, take a break. When people do meditation, if they go into a good meditation, they turn off the adrenal glands. Now there's other things to do, is to use the adrenal glands, right? Just say you're driving in the car and you're all tense, right? Tension in you. And so what happens is you can't, like you're tense, someone cuts you off, the adrenaline starts flowing, and you can't run, you can't fight, except you can yell, you go, oh, no good for nothing, like this. But what happens is that adrenaline...
What?
Yeah, but what happens is that adrenaline gets stuck in the body.
Okay.
and it's actually the cortisone.
Cortisone.
And
Adrenal cortisone or whatever,
no,
yeah.
Cortisol, excuse me.
Okay.
Cortisol. And it gets stuck in the body, and it starts to pollute the body.
Yes.
And what happens is, I read a book a number of years ago about brain longevity. A lot of that goes into the brain and kills brain cells. And people start to lose their memory because of the stress, too much stress.
Too much stress.
And so what I do, and what other people do, is they get rid of it through exercise. Like if I stop, like if I'm driving and I have an experience like this, well, when I get home, I want to just do something. I mean, to get out the hormones from my system.
Yes.
So I go take a walk. I'll go.
It's common sense. In a way.
I'll even doing stuff in the house, whatever it is, but to move it. So it has to get out of the body. So in our modern world, many people are stuck on, and their adrenals are stuck on. They're going all the time, this and this and this, and part of that is healthy, doing things, going. It's great, but there's a time when we have to say stop, and then your adrenals have to listen, so that we learn control over our system, and we have that internal control, and then we can do whatever we need to do. We need a good, strong bursts of adrenaline.
You bet.
But we also need to be able to be in a place where these glands can take a break.
So the pericardium work will help with that.
Well, the pericardium work it's a little different because it's I got off the pericardium topic, but
I took you off. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want. It's your interview.
Yeah.
The pericardium work is a little bit different. It also deals with this adrenaline, okay, but it is releasing what's stuck from there, and it's releasing the whole sac. It's releasing this so that it's opening up channels. It's just opening things. So anyway, the woman who created it, her name is Montserrat Gascon, and she's from Barcelona. She speaks French and Spanish and is just learning English now, and so we are communicating through other people. She is planning to come here in the end of June, and in order to teach, I'm not sure if she'll teach our full course, which is a 6-day course, but she may do some seminars and treatments. But also in April, the middle of April, my friend Alaidis, who does this method, is coming here to do pericardium treatments, to do just a couple presentations and treatments so that people can get to know it before Montserrat comes. Now, it turns out that I have a good friend named Saleh Najaj, who is a naturopath, and he lives in East Jerusalem, not too far from the post office there, if you know it. And he really is keen on this method, and he invited my friend Alaidis to come to stay there and to do treatments on people that he knows from East Jerusalem. So this takes me to East Jerusalem. East Jerusalem is a fascinating place, as you know. It's Christian and Muslim area, basically.
Mostly Muslim.
Yes, mostly Muslim, but there's Sadaq is Christian.
Okay.
And what's been happening is more and more alternative health practitioners are getting trained in East Jerusalem and in Palestine, and it's starting to grow. And now in Ramallah and Bethlehem, there's more and more alternative healing with the practitioners there. And my feeling is that Palestine will start to bring this even more into the rest of the Arab world. And the alternative healing is needed because traditional medicine, it deals with some things very well, but there are things, the unknown, it doesn't know how to deal with.
Yes, absolutely.
Like there's a pain someplace, and the people don't know what to do with it, so they do test after test trying to find what the pain is, and some of those tests can cause more problems. And so alternative medicine can help with many of these different things.
Absolutely. And do you know, by the way, just a little aside, for many years they encouraged women to do regular breast exams for tumors, and they've discovered that women who get the exams, the mammograms every year or half a year, have higher rates of cancer than the women who don't, because there's a problem with the test, with the radiation. So
that could be, and it also could be women that are at risk tend to go to the tests more because they're more afraid. Like if they have it in their history, and if they don't have it in their history, they're not tending to go to the test.
That makes sense.
So it's not necessarily that this gives it. I mean, radiation isn't the best for us. People know that, and it definitely could cause something. But that's the first thing that came to me because
Okay, that's a good point.
I mean, I think that regular medicine has something.
Oh,
vital.
Absolutely. I mean, allopathic medicine, conventional medicine, has its great uses, but it also fails in many areas.
Right, and one of the things that's happening is more and more medical doctors are seeing the limitations and what they can do. So many people, they're learning things like acupuncture. They come to me to learn
it's exciting,
energy healing. They're learning the pericardium method. They're learning, I mean, it goes on and on because there's different methods that are present within the world that work well. And
people want to get healed.
People are healing.
Yeah.
But one of the problems is that you can receive healing or get yourself healed and get stronger and do something in the next day or in the next moment that will make you a problem again. So many of the things that people are learning are how to think correctly, how to act correctly, how to take care of yourself, what to do, to meditate, like I talked about before, to do something to get rid of the stress, and so that we start to be in the flow, a natural human being.
Not just to deal with the symptoms, which is what the conventional Western medicine does. It deals with the symptoms, but what you're talking about is healing the cause, the stressful lifestyle.
Also preventing yourself from getting stressed out all the time. So if you do good physical exercise, where you sweat, you're releasing some of this.
Absolutely. So I know you're getting a lot to East Jerusalem, to Shafat.
Yeah, I was in Shafat actually this morning to do a session with someone, and it was a very interesting session, dealing with some past traumas that were stuck there that the woman forgot about, and it's causing physical problems to her body.
What, the woman with arthritis?
The woman with arthritis having trouble to walk, and she's an amazing woman. She's a microbiotic teacher and counselor, and she's a Muslim woman, and
but she's a relaxed. I mean, this is not strict Islam.
No, it's not. She's
obviously, because strict Islam would close the doors to you treating her for one. You, a man, treating her.
Well, I could be there. I've worked with strict Muslim women, and then there's someone that's been in the room with me, and it's worked very well. I think that strict Muslimism, I'm not even sure what it is, has space in it also for different things. And I find that I don't like to close doors on anything. I have space for everything, but where I put my attention, how I go, my attitude is important, because I'm interested in a holistic approach, in an approach that helps people at a higher level.
Absolutely. And you said this is the woman who's going to India for 3 weeks. 1 week, you said...
Her and her sister are going to India for 3 weeks. The first week they're going to some ashram there. They're going. The first week you laugh for a week. The second week you cry for a week, and the third week you're in silence. And this is not a type of thing for me, but she's very excited to go, and I'm very interested to hear her experience when she comes back. And I would like to bring her here for you to meet her, because she's a fascinating woman.
So I would love that. So Jeff, this is obviously a very non-traditional lady, and I asked you earlier when you brought her up, how many Muslim people are becoming more relaxed about it and doing these things and exploring and opening in this way, because you meet a lot of Muslim people. And your opinion is it's a lot, isn't that right?
Well, my opinion that it's growing, and it's growing quickly, and that more and more people are looking to alternative methods or alternative things. Now, it's true that some of the strict Muslim people are told just stay like this, so they're not open. Some of the strict, also any religious, they're just stuck within a little narrow space. But I find that in East Jerusalem people are fascinated, and when I brought up the topic of working with releasing spirits, they would not let it go, and they made me. I was doing a seminar, and like I was going to go on to something. They said, no, let's go back. And we had a long conversation in relationship to the invisible world, the spirits in the invisible world, which is, I don't know if we've done an interview, I don't want to do it right now, but we could do a whole interview just on this. This is a fascinating world to me.
As to me.
So essentially, I mean, the invisible world is, it's very sacred, but it's polluted. And so what we're doing, what I do with my energy work is help unpollute that vibration. What you're doing in your world, you're helping to unpollute it, to making it so that it's cleaner. So we create an atmosphere, and that atmosphere grows.
Indeed. And, this opening up of the religions, that's the hope. The hope for this country. The opening up of people to new ideas. And you are and to new ways of looking at life. You are a great emissary, Jeff. And going into the Arab world. And I know that the people there love you, your friends and your clients love you, and it's extremely important. So I think it's really kudos, as they say.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I find that the Arab people work with their heart a little differently, and their emotions a little differently than the Jewish people do here. And it's fascinating to see how people work with an open heart, and what they do with this open heart. We talked about the pericardium before. Well, the pericardium protects the heart, and the heart can be open. And the more we open our heart, the more we have to surround it in a sense. Now I surround my heart in a larger way. My heart is surrounded in much, much larger energy field, because not just through the pericardium or here, because my emotional heart is big. And I want it to go out, but I also want it to keep it so that it's safe. I find that some of the Muslim people know how to work with this emotional energy really well. Now, it's true, people that know how to work with it well can also know how to manipulate with it well. So people can manipulate with the heart well, in a different way than say, the Jewish people manipulate with the heart. So, I'm not an expert on manipulation, I don't practice it much, but...
We all try, right, not to do it, right?
But I'm more interested in using the heart to send forth the message of love, of life, of hope, of peace and things like this. I also recently have gone to, for many years I've been going to a gathering called the Sulcha, which is Jews and Arabs get together and they talk, young people, older people. I was just at a fascinating meeting, and I teach them the energy work. And the last one, it was very short and very powerful. It was just, I wish I had a picture of it. It was just so strong. It was like, and you could almost see this powerful energy going up.
Socha meaning forgiveness, right? Like the Hebrew word slicha.
Socha, it's like this. Socha is actually in the Arab world, it's a tradition of releasing problems between people. And they have certain ways they go about it. You can look it up on the internet and you can see. It's like the first thing you do is you sit and have a cup of tea together and you just talk together without the problem. After a little while, then something happens and you talk, and someone is there usually to be in between, and then sometimes a payment is given or sometimes something has to be done. That's traditional socha. This socha, this was taken from the name. The actual people call it on the way to socha, because people are getting together and becoming friends more, so that they can get to a place where they can make peace together, where they can make amends together. Our two countries, Israel and Palestine, they're not communicating well. They're not allowing the flow to go back and forth, and so there can't be forgiveness. There can't be working. That's at the government level. At the people level, it's happening a lot. It's happening with me, at the Socha, many groups. There's hundreds of groups around the country and around Palestine that are doing this type of what I call spiritual peace work.
A lot of people want it. I think most people, unless they're religious fanatics and want to set up some kind of strict religious state, Jewish or Muslim, I think most people are wanting it somehow.
Yes. Well, I agree with you, and I think that we simply need to hold a space for the rest of the world to catch up. And we have to hold a space of peace and keep letting it grow in our lives, in our organizations, in our space, and waiting for the politicians, waiting for the fanatics to come.
Well, don't wait too long for the fanatics. Try to just
could change
bypass
too.
them. Maybe
I've heard many different stories of people coming that have been fanatics and have come to gatherings, and they put down the swords. They said they start to talk. They start to communicate. They realize, because fighting doesn't work. If fighting worked, the whole world would be organized and work and at peace now, because the fighting would work, and then everyone would be afraid not to do things. But it doesn't work.
Even my own life, I've had background very I was in sort of a very militant organization, Zionist, religious Jewish organization. And in my own life, I've changed, obviously. So, what about, you said you were in a peace meeting in Switzerland too. What kind of peace? Right. Between who and who?
Well, actually, it was what I call a spiritual peace gathering, and it was for people to get to know what was taking place here in this country. So I talked a bit about that, and I also taught them what I do at many peace gatherings, which is to feel energy in your hands, to create energy, and then to make a group together. And people, they just were floating off the ground.
Actually, every meeting, if people understood themselves to be energy beings, spirit beings, and not just physiological, biological, then somehow that's going to open doors for getting along with each other. It's got to.
That's needed in every place, in businesses, in homes, in countries.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And within the political world. It has to go into it. And it's going in slowly. Oops, what was that?
That was my pericardium. Stressing out my stomach.
She's got a good sense of humor.
I felt it. I really, sometimes you feel it in your heart when there's a loud noise. Anyway.
So, anyway, this was a very nice peace gathering, and something happened there, because one of the things was people are tired to hear what's on the news. They're tired of hearing about the problems. They don't hear about the fact that Muslims and Jewish people communicate together, are friends, get together, do projects together, try to find peace together, try to find hope. I mean, they're just not used to it. So people were so relieved, and then they opened up. We did a great circle, and something really happened there, and I could feel inside people were healing. We have here fighting on the outside, but there's inside too. But there's people all around the world. They may have peace around them, but there's a lot of internal battling. And so my type of spiritual peace circles help that internal battle to calm down, to release, and gives it a chance to change.
Well, Jeff, you were trying, not just trying, but you were bringing that to a worldwide level just recently, weren't you? With your energy ball.
For peace gathering.
For peace.
Yeah.
I mean, you organized things and people joined in from around the world. Isn't that
it's still
correct?
happening. Every Sunday there's what I call an energy ball for peace gathering.
Well, tell us also, how can people participate?
Well, they can... the energy... I'm not... it's on my Facebook page.
How do you get to your Facebook page?
It's just...
or your email, or whatever you like.
My email is JEFFLEAH.
Jeff Leah.
Jeff Leah at actcom.co.il.
Okay.
And they can go there. My Facebook, I'm not exactly sure how to get there. I don't know to do it well. But I started an event. I started an event, and I've had probably about 500 people around the world that are participating on Sundays, and we are creating energy ball for peace. And the comments I've got are amazing. People have very mystical experiences, but also I find that some of the more mystical people are contacting me. So I've made some very nice connections around the world.
I bet.
And what it is we're holding a space for peace. We're holding a space for humanity to catch up. I said this before. But this gathering is specifically for this. And it's blessing the Middle East. And then I did a side gathering, or a part of this, of blessing Syria recently. Over the past while, I decided to do a media fast. You know what a media fast is?
Not watching TV?
Not looking at the news on the computer, not watching TV. If I see something, I'm not going to run away from it. I look at it, but I don't pay attention if I'm with other people. But basically,
yes, I understand.
I'm taking a break from what the media is thinking.
That's a very, very good thing to do. In a way, I've done that for years because I used to love it. I used to love watching the news and love reading newspapers. And until it finally hit me, I wasn't doing myself much good. I was working myself into exhausting my adrenals.
Well, you really can't do anything. Like if you see a news report, like it's hard to do something. You can send some energy, you can send a blessing, you can send a prayer or something like this, but it's hard to do something about it. So you see that there's a fighting in Gaza between Israel and Gaza, and what happens is the emotions come.
Yes.
Okay, you can say, okay, well, I need to be in a safe place. Okay, so the news does have that purpose of saying, okay, it's not safe over here, so you can do that. The thing is that it's overblown, and when there's wars here, the TV is constantly on showing images,
and they focus on some of the worst images.
And exactly, and these images, they're put into people's consciousness,
yes,
and then people get more and more stressed out, more and more afraid, and they get sick.
And it scars the third body. I've seen images which I really wish I had never seen, that pop into my head sometimes from the news or from movies.
Well,
it's also movies.
So what happens is that
It
image.
scars the etheric.
Okay, but it doesn't only scar the etheric, it scars your nervous system.
Yes.
So you can use this method of somatic experience where you actually, when that comes up, you can go in your body and you can dialogue with that and you can release it within
Dial
a short
out? What do you
dialogue.
Dialogue.
So basically, what happens is if you see just say an image comes up, and then you say, okay, this image comes up. Say, where do you feel it in? Where do I feel it in my body? Where is it? Where is it in actuality? It's not up here. It's someplace in our body. So you feel it. Okay, I feel in my neck like this. So you get into it. You describe it. You get into it. And as you're doing that, you're communicating with your nervous system, and the nervous system releases it. And all of a sudden, you may have a twitch or a deep breath or a release in something.
Dialogue? Well, you look at it really closely and you try to. What do you mean dialogue?
Well,
exactly?
you actually connect.
Let me give you
you actually connect to it.
Let me give you an example, okay? With something.
No problem.
It happened here in Israel a lot of years ago, but it sticks with me. It was around 6 o'clock. Children were still watching. They don't care. Also, I know in American TV, they don't care what hour they show some of these scenes, or if you have cable TV, between two movies that you could see like 5 murders. Between two sweet, nice movies, just in the commercials, you could watch 5 people getting blown away, shot in the head, shot in the body, just to advertise other movies. Sick. It's really sick. It was like late afternoon, or not even 6, and they showed the scene of John F. Kennedy getting shot in the head, because there was some upcoming documentary about JFK, and before you could turn the channel or switch the remote control immediately, like you go from one thing and within 2 seconds, out of the blue, you see John Kennedy getting shot in the head, and that image still stays with me.
Okay, so let's just do this for a second. So right now we're just relax yourself for a second, and I'll get to that image in a second. Just notice around you a couple of colors. And notice a couple of shapes. 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes. So immediately now you're connecting into what we call the felt sense. So now go into your body and tell me a place that feels good in your body.
My heart area.
So just spend a couple moments with this heart, with your heart area.
Yeah, like my heart chakra.
Nice, good. Does it have a color to it, your heart chakra?
Well, I just thought of pink when you asked me that.
Okay, so pink. Okay, nice. Okay, really nice. Okay, so now I would like you to. You just told me a story. You could repeat it again if you want, but
no, I don't want. Okay. We all heard it.
Okay, so
I heard it.
So you saw this image of John Kennedy getting shot.
Yeah.
And okay, so now, when I say that, where do you feel it in your body?
In my head.
Okay, where do you feel it in your head? Which part of your head?
The front, like this forehead, and also the sides.
Okay, so just stay with that for a minute and see if you can describe to me a color that you see, a shape.
Color is like dark red, blood red.
Blood red, and is there a shape to it?
Yeah, brains getting, pardon me, brains getting blown out of a head.
Okay, but I want you to talk about it in your body.
Well, yeah.
Not in his body.
I sort of identify with what happens.
Okay, so you identify with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So brains getting blown out of my head. Like a mess.
Okay. So just stay with that mess for a second.
Icks. Ick.
So part of part of releasing is the ichs, is the laughing. But just okay, that's part of releasing. Now what's happening in your body?
I'm relaxing. It doesn't control me like it did.
Okay. So that's the beginning. So
The image is no longer dominating me. It's like I know it happened to him, but it's not the truth. So I'm like dialoguing with myself. This is not the truth of who he was, his life, who he is now, or me.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I sort of dialogue with myself. In other words, it's a lie.
Okay.
It happened like the Course in Miracles, only love is real. And it's one of the exercises about that airplane. God did not make that airplane crash, so it is not real. God did not make that disease, and so it is not real. Only the idea that only love, the memories of love, that's what's real.
And when you say this, when this little speech you gave me,
Yeah.
what do you feel in your body?
Better, stronger,
Where do you feel it?
all over.
Stay with that feeling.
Yeah, I feel a lot of power in my body now.
Okay. Now go back to your head. And what's happening in your head?
It's better. It's there, but it's much more in the background, and I know it's not real. It's like it happened to someone, and but it's a lie. It's a lie. It's not the truth of who he was or who he is or anything.
So let's get away from John Kennedy. Let's get to Eliyahu, and in your brain right now.
Yes.
What do you feel in your brain now?
I'm much more relaxed.
Very relaxed.
It's still a background image, you know. How could it's like, don't think about pink elephants. When they tell you that, you're going to, right? So it's there, but it's gentle. It's not. It's just something that, not dominating at all right now.
So
just something that happened.
Okay. So
like
right
a lot
now
of lousy things in this world.
Okay. So right now you brought it under control a bit in your mind, and
Quite
you
a
released
bit, quite a lot.
and you released a little bit of the tension from it, maybe a lot of the tension also. And as you do this again, which I would recommend that you do by yourself at some point, the same image, you'll find that the whole thing is getting smaller and smaller until it vanishes. And sometimes these memories just fade away from us because they're being held by the nervous system, and so once we release it, we don't have a use for it anymore. There's no use for this. So you give yourself permission to release it. Right now, it's a strong image, and then one of the problems is that the images come up many times for you, which you mentioned before.
Over the years, every now and then.
Right.
But there are lots of things like this. I mean,
right, and so that's connected to other things that come up that you think is inevitable. But in essence, all those images can fade away, and you don't remember them because they're not necessary for you, for your spiritual growth, for your life.
Thing is, I, like a lot of other people, we have sort of a tendency for self-sabotage. Like, for whatever reason, a lot of teachers, Lazarus talked about this a lot. Maybe we don't feel deserving or good enough, or who knows? Maybe it's post-traumatic stress from a million lives. Who knows? A million lives ago or this life. But I've noticed this in myself, and I know maybe everybody has this. You're at a high level, so I don't imagine you do it much. But we have a tendency to self-sabotage. If I didn't have that tendency, I would be out of this wheelchair by now. So I think part of us, we're so split. We're all sort of schizophrenic somehow. Every now and then, part of me brings up these thoughts just to hurt myself, frankly. But this is like
It's a whole other world.
a whole nother world. And not that, please don't get the idea that I'm an unhappy person. I'm quite happy. I have a good life. But nothing is perfect. Anyway.
Well, this is the way that you have dealt with your situation. This is how you do it within your consciousness. I think this whole thing of self-sabotage, people that are in much better shape than you are have self-sabotage and they don't have it under control. And
it's very, 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 like I said,
it's harming people. And
it might be spirit. I mean, we talked about spirits before. It could be connected to that.
Right. It can be that people are harboring spirits within their body, within their soul, within their lives, within their homes. And what's happening is it's clogging up the flow. And
or guilts, or God knows what.
There's a lot of problems that humans have created. And in the same breath, there are a lot of solutions and a lot of ways that people can come out of those. And so what you're doing through your videos and your life, what I'm doing in my life, we are opening up a way that people can come out of these personal traumas, collective traumas, illusions.
A lot of these thoughts aren't even ours. We connect to collective fears. And it's not, in a way, I've worked with teachers who really stress this. We're just picking up sometimes on collective fears and terrors. But in any case, I feel myself getting stronger. And these things bother me less and less. And I think just one key is just meditation. And burned out adrenal glands have a lot to do with this too. Somebody who's in stress all the time, the body will just need the stress, so they'll find a thought to keep them, to give them what they need, the stress that they're used to. Anyway, anything else?
No, I think I mean we could go on for.
No, we could go on for a long time.
Yeah, but it's a good conversation. I feel that there's an opportunity that's present in our lives, and if we take that opportunity, something's going to change. Well, and it's going to change, and it's going to open up a doorway. And that doorway, once it opens up, we walk through it. There's a lot of doorways around, and people don't go through them because they're afraid, because they're stuck, because they think they have to do something else. To just be open to the calling of your spirit. And as a person's open to the calling of their spirit, something changes in them. And we
go stronger.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm taking the phrase, I think, from the Bible. Seek and you shall find, knock, and the door will be opened. And so we have to seek and knock. And Jeff, I bless you, and I bless people to find people like you. And may you continue your good work. And thank you very much.
You're welcome. You know, there's one thing before I finish. You know, one of the things I've been doing is working through the Skype and doing sessions through Skype. And it's really quite amazing. And one of the things I found is that, like if I'm with a person, it's at one level. When I do it through the Skype, there's something that's different there. And it works. And sometimes it can even be deeper because the defense isn't there. There's a different, like the defense is there, in a sense, or the physical. Something is different. And I find some people can go really deep and cleanse things within themselves. I've had a lot of personal cleansing from working with this felt sense and the somatic experience. And it can take 2 or 3 minutes. I'd be walking along, something comes up, all of a sudden I feel it flowing out of my body. I describe it to myself, I stay with it, and I flow it out of the body. And by the way, once we finish that, the nervous system releases, so we want to bring something positive or good or healthy into the nervous system.
To replace it.
Right. So you think
fill the
about
space.
something. So you think about something that's nice, a beautiful day, a place that feels good in your body, a good experience that you had. Like when you were working, I sensed there was something releasing, but you brought yourself to that healing vortex by yourself. You just smiled and you said a few things, and I could see that you were doing it to yourself. You released something and you brought something back into that space. So it's important to release, and it's important to fill that space with sacredness.
Jeff, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks everyone listening. Thanks, Dudan.